So what's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and this is Regular Guy Training. With me, I have
some guy named Josh.
He looks homeless as fuck right now. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about light mounts. In particular, we're going to talk about the Haley Strategic thorntail mount, because we've seen them mounted to a few rifles in a couple of interesting ways, a couple of interesting methodologies behind mounting them up. Like I said, or like I didn't say, I'm not sure if I did or not, on the AK in particular. And we found out a way that's not a good idea, right? Mostly because one of these was mounted on his rifle. And at first I was thinking, okay, it's no big deal either, until we saw this kind of shit happen. Like, I'm holding this straight. It's bent as fuck. Okay. Like, really bent.
Yeah, get way closer.
Yeah, like, way bent. Like, bent as fuck. Look at that. Here's the thing about this individual light mount. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about a couple of alternatives. Because on your gay R's, right, what this is designed to be mounted to is a 12 o'clock portion of your monolithic rail up top, or monolithic, quote unquote, because unless you're running an LMT, you're not running a one piece. But you can see that it rides along the side of the handguard, right? And it's supposed to, whether it be like a quad rail of some kind, or, or you just have like a KMR like so. It's supposed to run along. It has to have some extra stuff.
Some structure there.
Yeah, for support so that it doesn't bend.
Yeah, right along that channel right there. Right there.
So it's kind of one of those things that we found out because you're not the only one. I've seen a bunch of other guys come through classes and stuff before to where it's just kind of like hanging out there. And I'm most of the time while I'm at class, I'm just trying to keep guys from shooting themselves. Like, I'm more focused on the fighting techniques and stuff. And yeah, we talk about gear and all this other shit when we got time, but most of the time I'm focused on teaching guys, fighting techniques and all that cool stuff. But how I've seen it done a lot is I've seen them mounted onto Ultimax, and most of the time you see them mounted to Ultimax up here, right, to where that arm is hanging out, in just floating in space. And that's exactly how this thing got bent up. It was on the SGL
31.
The SGL 31. Right, I got all kinds of tongue tied on that model number just now, but it was hanging off of the SGL 31, and it was dropped a couple of times, just because of the particular drill that we were running and that kind of stuff. We're also not the kindest people in the world to rifles, because to me a rifle is no different than a screwdriver. So with that being said, this was the result. This came off of that rifle and it's bent as shit, like touching the barrel. The light survived, yay.
Actually, it popped off like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This, because of just how badly it got bent, it just came right off the rifle. The light survived, yay, but the mount did not.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, okay, well, now we got to talk about this because we hadn't seen it happen before. And nobody else talks about this kind of stuff. So now what are the alternatives? What I've been running for the longest time on AKs is I'll go to the 12 o'clock portion of Ultimac with just an offset 1913 section. This one in particular is from Daniel Defense. It was bought along with a few others of the same variety from Daniel Defense like a few years ago, and like they've been on a lot of different rifles. They've had a lot of different lights on them and that kind of stuff. They're strong, really strong. I've had one take a section off a 1913, right? Like the mount, nothing was damaged on the mount. It just took that piece in 1913 rail off of it because the impact was hard enough, right? But the mount and all of that are fine. I screwed it on to a different section of that rifle and, good to go. It was on like a military issue CAC rail from Knight's Armament. They're RIS, I think, something like that. RIS, RAS, something. I think it's RAS actually. Rail whatever the fuck. It's the regular carbine rail that comes with the that is shipped with standard issue M4s, and it was sitting on the 12 Glock portion, and it just ripped off that section because it took an impact that was hard enough. So all I did was unscrew this, flip it around, moved it to the side, and it was fine, and the mount and everything is good. So having it float on top here, just what I've seen in the past, and we started talking about it a lot, is there's a lot of support already because it's got a big old grabbing surface on here, and then you have a light with a regular 1913 knob on there. It's just bolted on there. There's no weird hanging or anything like that. This isn't screwed all the way down because we're going to demo something else that works pretty good. But once this is screwed down, there's no like unnecessary wiggling. If it takes an impact, it's fine. I've used it for a long time, and the cool thing about this too is that it offsets a little bit from your front sight tower. So while it will shadow it a little bit, it's not obnoxious. It's not fucking crazy, right? Like you'll still get some backlight on the back end of your front sight tower, but it isn't ridiculous. You know, you're not wasting 70% of your light output on your rifle, right? So that's one way to do it. Now, this next method doesn't work too great for a TLR1 in and of itself because there's too much spill. There isn't as much like of a focused beam that comes out of those things.
What mount is that?
This right here, mounted to the barrel, is a RS Regulate 1913 section. It's made for flashlights, and it bolts directly to your barrel. And here's another concept, right? Because, you know, you can mount one of these guys to here, and with that angle, right? With that angle, freaking, you can get it with your hands just fine. I just don't suggest TLR1 individually for this. You want like an X300U that's got more of a hotter beam to it. Those pistol lights focus less on, you know, your spill and fill and more on the spotlight beam in the center. So because with just one of these, it's ridiculous up here. So there's a thought in that as well. And additionally, if you don't want to do that with that individual light, you can also just dismount one of these off of the 1913 section, and you can bolt it onto there as well, because you can sit there and you can reach it with your thumb, and it's just far enough out the way to where you can reach it and press it, but you're not going to light AD it over and over again, which is one of the reasons why it's nice that it's hanging way off the side here, because, you know, you're not going to light AD the thing because it's far enough away to where you're not going to accidentally hit shit. So, yeah, I mean, that's just what I've used in the past. That's what works, you know, and we just saw that kind of thing break, so.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of light, since we're on the subject real quick, with the light NDing on an AK, I actually prefer the Surefire lights because, versus the Stream lights, and this is only an AK specific thing, because the shrouding around the button, it's a lot harder to ND that, because it's, when you put a light on an AK, you only have so much of a wiggle room. With an AR, you can put it wherever you want, especially if you run a switch. So, I prefer these.
Well, and here's the thing on that, right? I have had no problem with these, me individually, because when my thumb just kind of sets on there, I have longer digits, but they're just thinner, right? So immediate, like with the rifle out and me just sitting there and resting my thumb on that, if I'm getting ready to use the light, that's not a problem for me. But guys that have bigger, meatier digits or whatever the fuck, or especially if you're one of those guys and you're wearing gloves, yeah, that's absolutely a consideration. You know, because he's obviously shorter than me. He's got a different build, and he's not a huge fan of the lesser amount of shrouding around the button. Now, is that a big deal for me? No, but it is a big deal for him, so something to consider.
It could be, you know. Yeah. It's whatever you're into.
So let's bring up another rifle with a thorntail mount on an AR that needs to get moved whenever it can.
Well, it can't because the rail's so short.
Ah, that's true. I'm looking at one of these, and why don't you talk about this guy?
Okay, if you follow the channel at all, you've seen me talk about this SBR a long time ago. This rail is too short for all the crap that I have on there. So I had to mount this on the side here, and what that has done, it's really hard to see it, put a gap right there. So same problem I'm having with the AK, where if there's any bit of flex anywhere in this whole piece that's supposed to run against the rail as support, it will bend. And this is exactly, you can't really tell. This light is actually starting to push in quite a bit because it's flexing and bending right in the middle. And this is the shorter mount and the shorter light. So the way I have to fix this is I have to get a new rail, which is not a big deal because I wanted one anyway. But that just shows it's not an AK specific problem. It's if this whole length is not supported, this will happen if you use it. If you use this firearm, if you drop it, you bump into stuff a lot or whatever.
Yeah, especially guys that like live with their guns.
Absolutely.
You know, like your green suit types, or even a lot of like your SWAT officers and stuff that live with guns on them.
Yeah, 100%.
Like on their bodies. It's just I just don't see that working out very
Yeah.
well, based on how we've seen this bend out before. It was usually something I just didn't pay a whole lot of mind to, but having seen it for myself, it's one of those things. It was like,
well, our buddy Tyler had broke one, snapped one, same deal on his AK.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually talked to him the other day, and we talked about how thorntails just suck on AKs. It's not their fault. They're not being braced the way they were designed. So
yeah, this is more of a, if you're gonna get it, pay attention to X kind of deal. Like,
yeah.
we're not bashing the product, because
no.
realistically speaking, and this is just the brutal honesty of it, is that they were being used improperly, and that's why they fucking broke.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know, and this is just stuff that we live and learn and that kind of thing. So it's, if you're going to use it, make sure it's being used well.
Right, of course.
Before shit gets broken, you get mad.
Well, yeah, if you're going to build one of these things to use like this on a different level, it's got to all jive and work. So
yeah, especially if you come out to classes and train a lot and then practice your ass off later on, it's one of those things to where you want to be able to come correct with as much information as you can.
Well, that, and if you're like, oh, I would never do that. Well, if you come out to a class, say your sling's getting in the way of middle of a drill.
Drill.
Wow. Anyway.
What the fuck even was that?
I don't know.
What accent was that?
Yeah, it's Josh's accent.
You're retarded.
Anyway, a drill. You might just throw this on the ground because it's getting in your way. Like, that's how all these have gotten bent. So
yeah, and guys that sit there and say like, I'd never throw my rifle on the ground. All right, okay.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. We're coming around stopping guns, and you go ahead and get that fourth or fifth Type 3 in a row.
Yeah, and then you have to go to a pistol, and this thing's in your way. Just done.
It's done. Just like, and there are a lot of guys that we've seen, where their guns would stop, and they have to finish a drill, and they're just in the middle of it, and they're just doing their thing, and for some reason they just can't get the action open, so they're just like, fuck it, and they just throw it forward, and it goes down, and it's whatever, it's fine, most of the time the equipment's okay, most of the time,
yeah.
But that's just a consequence, a lot of guys don't really take that lightly. A lot of guys configure their guns because they know that kind of shit's gonna happen. So. Oh yeah. I mean, and this is just something else that we wanted to put out, because I have not seen anybody talk about thorntail mounts bending or anything.
No, well, see, in the AK world, I see these thorntail mounts on AKs all the time, and it's like they're gorgeous guns. They don't get used. That's fine, but if they were to be used, that's going to be an issue. And if you've got 3, 5, 7 AKs, whatever, with all the same mounts or thing that's not going to work for you, you've got to change all that out.
I've been recommended the thorntail mount for the AK by a lot of people, and I have to say this too. It's one of those things where it's like that recommendation came from somebody that used to be like really, 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 really good. And it's one of those things where it's like, I've recommended this product to people because at the time I'm still like, fucking, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, fuck, yeah, I'm on it. I'm totally down. If he recommended it, then I'm totally down. And then later on, it's like, that person fell off and fucking, it's whatever. But the point is that, like, I've seen them on rifles a lot, and now that we're running our own program and now that guys are using them and that kind of thing, I see a large sample size of them, and in short order they're starting to bend and break and that kind of stuff. So there you go. It's actually a video that we wanted to make for a while now.
I've been saying something about it for a long time.
Yeah. So this is just we're getting to it now.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, after this one had twisted off and just fell off, I was like, okay, I've had enough.
Yeah, because there's a difference between it bending and then just straight up falling off.
Yeah, because it would bend all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And it's not like this is a cheap package. I mean, you could get a cheap handgun for this, for just this light mount. So
yeah, so I mean, and that's the thing too, especially with like our testing and evaluation on a lot of other things. Like this is a video I didn't even intend to make, but every once in a while you see some stuff like that and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just good information to put out. So just as kind of a PSA, like especially my AK guys and stuff, you know, don't use that. I would do something else. Like I showed you a couple of different ways to do it just now. That are solid, that I know work because I've seen those rifles make contact with the ground and that kind of stuff, and they don't break, they don't shear, they don't do shit like that. So, yeah, I mean, like that really is my my whole opinion on
this
that.
is what I really want to see. I want to see something that you guys know about that we don't or haven't mentioned.
Yeah, like stuff that has just broken on you in class and stuff like that we haven't covered.
Yeah, that, and I want maybe use a mount that is just the best thing ever. It's the bee's knees for AKs, and we just...
Yeah, because we get told shit all the time. It's like, hey, you should try this. And frankly, we're told it enough to where it's like, you just don't remember it all.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, we see that kind of stuff all the time. Now, granted, again, I'm going to say this a second time. This isn't us bashing the thorntail mount.
No.
Because it's an excellent product if it's used right.
It's great.
What we are saying is that if you're mounting it to an Ultimac, you're using it improperly, and you're probably going to bend the fucker to the point where it breaks.
Right.
So, I mean...
this setup is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that thing has taken an ass whooping.
Oh, man.
And because it's supported properly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. This just works. Speaking of products that we always talk about, like once I got on this Cloud Defensive mount for the switches for Streamlight and Surefires.
Yeah, which is just
good.
It's
like
just
I'm starting
good.
to see everybody have them.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool.
And it's funny because it ain't cheap and it ain't light, but damn it, it works.
It works. If you've run anything like this before, you know zip ties and sticky tape, it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
That's not how we do it.
Zip ties and all that stuff, and you've used them, but they're Band-Aids, and you gotta change them out and all this other shit. You know your gas tube's gonna melt that shit apart.
Oh yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. So it's a real solid setup. I like it.
See right there. See how tight that is to the barrel? That's this mount
rail.
I'm trying not to hit your camera. See how tight that is? That's what that's about. That's why we like the thorntail on ARs when they're properly supported.
Mm-hmm. And that right there is just going to continue getting an ass whooping, and it's going to do fine, because as much as he's beating the shit out of this thing, he's beating the shit out of that rifle way worse, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. You know, and of course guys are going to sit here and cry about, oh, you shouldn't be treating your equipment like that, blah blah blah. Whatever, dude. Like,
well, I mean, or should you, if we want to go down that road for just a split second?
Yes.
Okay, well,
yes.
What do you think's going to happen? You have this nice, pristine pick-a thing that's beautiful and whatever that you've never even used.
And my thing is, too...
shit's falling apart.
Yeah, and my thing is, too, is that have you ever been in a class where it's just raining the whole time, and you're dealing with, Tennessee clay and shit's getting in your gun and all that stuff? And it's not even because it's fucking cool or whatever. It's you dealing with shitty stuff, and you're well within diminished returns, and, putting it this way, if you have to use a rifle in self-defense in your home, the chances of you being at peak performance are about 0. Chances of you using the rifle in the first place are astronomically low. But you're getting up in the middle of the night naked, just groggy as shit, trying to figure out what is happening, and now you got to squeeze off rounds on a rifle.
Yeah.
Freaking, you are tired as fuck because you just came home from work, or waking up in the morning, or you just got out the gym and your body feels like fucking jello, or you sat there and fucking went out with your wife and dealt with her shitty parents, or some crazy thing like that. You come back and you're just mad, and like you're just not ready ever.
No.
You're always within diminished returns. So it's one of those things where it's like people go out to these classes and we train rain or shine, and rain follows us around all the time. It's not even really a joke anymore. It's just something that sucks because while you guys are doing all this cool ass stuff, I'm standing in it getting fucked up, and nobody is at their peak performance. Being exposed to that kind of stuff is going to make you better. What it's also going to do is that it's going to consistently shit on equipment that isn't being used properly or that isn't up to snuff to start.
Right.
So this is the point of this kind of thing, because guys that do this all the time and do it, and we do our own practice, and we're still going to classes. You just went to a John level class. Both of us are going to a Costa class in January, and we're just going to keep raping our gear until we figure out what the best balance is. And stuff that doesn't come correct, or we can test the limits.
Well,
because if you really gotta really gotta try to break something, that's a good product.
Yeah. Well, it either works and stays, or something else comes out that it might be a better alternative.
Yeah. And again, for the fucking third time, this isn't us bashing the mount. It's if you're sticking it on an AK, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Go to an alternate way of mounting a light to the AK that's better supported for that thing to stay on that gun, because the way that it's currently set up now is gonna break, right? So that's where that's where all of the thought process is on this.
Well, that and too, if you hand me that real quick, some guys don't like the modern look on AKs and stuff like that. So maybe you don't want Ultimac, so you want to run your regular top handguard. Well, the RS Regulate mount will work with that. So that's a huge option.
As often as possible, unless it's like a collector's piece, as often as possible, I like to shit on those people though.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like as often as possible. Me personally, there are some guys that are just kind of like traditionalist or die. Like these people are cut from the same cloth of, if a 1911's got a rail on it, it's not a 1911. You're a fucking retard,
yeah, I know what
dude.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Like, no, just make it more effective. Do what you got to do. And we showed you guys a couple of ways to do this thing. Just again, it's us trying to help out and being all like, yo, this is how you do it right. This is how you do it wrong, because we just did it wrong.
Yeah. Well, so the original thing I've been saying since I found out that these don't work is if this piece was steel, it would work. I think it would, not aluminum.
Maybe.
It would be a better. I would be interested in trying it.
It would be stronger.
Well, I think that is what the problem is that weak aluminum.
Yeah. So an AK thorntail.
Yeah, AK specifics. I mean, we're talking about what, maybe an ounce more of weight for something that's solid.
And you know what? I've seen a lot of guys with M forgeries or even service rifles with these on there, and they're sticking way off the freaking.
They will have the same problem.
Those short handguards in the first place too. So it's not just specific to the AK.
Right. Yeah.
It's if it's not supported, it's gonna get fucked up.
Unless you don't use it.
That's true. Well, if it's a safe queen, and those people are gonna come out too and be like, I've never had a problem, and I've dropped mine from like 40-story.
40 stories, and I got ran over by a truck.
And there's a rocket booster attached to it too, so it went into the ground at 700 miles an hour.
Well, luckily we're not talking to those people that don't use their gear. So
I am. Fuck you.
I know. Well, I mean, are they actually watching this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is what it is. But that's the point of it, guys. We're gonna go ahead and cut it off here.
Yeah, we're starting to ramble about nonsense.
Yeah, we can just sit here and talk shit forever.
Or maybe we should. No, it's fine.
We could probably do like a live thing. We probably should.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Got one more video, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Well, we could get together and do like a live thing and be done with it.
Okay.
Just talk shit with people. Answer ridiculous questions along with good ones too.
We should talk about what optics we like on AKs.
That's true. Yeah.
But not in this video.
Yeah, it's kind of a short list.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. If you want to come out and take training with us and that kind of stuff, if you want to learn this kind of shit yourself too, you can come out and train with us. And I tell you what, we're cheap as fuck to train with. For real. Like $250 for a 2-day class and 1,400 rounds. You go ahead and find that. Find a better deal. Go ahead. I'll wait. Pause the video. I'll wait.
Pause it on this face.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. And also, if you jump on the Patreon thing and support us, at this point, you guys know where all of that goes. Okay, it does nothing but good for other people. Also, if you wanna join the fighting gym, basically, and pay $35 a month, you can take classes, as many classes as you want with us, so long as you're signed up to that $35 a month program. And guys have abused that maliciously. which is good because it was designed to be abused by the dedicated. While he's sitting here petting his AK, I'm also going to go ahead and remind the folks, if you're a school resource officer or if you're a teacher permitted to carry a gun in a classroom, there will be a verification process, yes, but you can train with us tuition free forever. So, get on it. But,
cool.
Oh, also, link in the description below if you want to buy a hat. We'll see you later, guys. Take it easy.
Have fun.